Question 17 says, the diagram shows two bumper cars P and Q at an amusement park. Q was stationary, P was moving at a speed of 2.10 meter per second towards Q. P collided with Q. After the collision, P and Q moved off in the same direction. P moved with a speed of 1.15, Q moved with a speed of 1.57. Show that the total mass of Q was about 150 kg and total mass of P is given 250 kg. So it's a classic example of law of conservation of momentum. So according to the law of conservation of momentum, total momentum before must be equal to total momentum after. Q was stationary and therefore total momentum before collision is equal to the momentum of P. So only P had a momentum before the collision. But after the collision, since they were both moving, P and Q both had a momentum. So you put the values in this equation because MPU, there is no other momentum before the collision other than P's. Put in the values in this equation and you get the value of Q, mass of Q as 151. So this is a show that question. The value in the show that question is rounded off to 2SF, so you have to give your answer in 3SF. Next part of the question says, state one assumption you made in your calculation in A1. So whenever you are dealing with law of conservation of momentum, always remember total momentum is conserved is a conditional statement. So what is the condition based on which this statement holds true? The condition is there are no external forces. So specifically you can say there are no external horizontal forces. Next part of the question says the collision lasted a total time of 35 seconds. Calculate the average horizontal force on Q during the collision. Whenever a momentum question talks about force, just recall this equation. F equals mv minus mu by t. Put in the values and you get your answer. There are two important issues to consider. One is rate of change of momentum of P or Q for force. What I meant by that is you could have considered the rate of change of momentum for either of the bodies, either P or Q. Why is that? Because the force that P exerts on Q is the same as the force that Q exerts on P according to Newton's third law. And significant figure, super important at this stage. When you look at these values, all of these values are in 3SF. So the question is giving you a hint to give the answer in 3SF. So answer is 176 Newton. Next part says, explain why P decelerates during the collision. Your answer should make references to Newton's laws of motion. So the first thing is P exerts a force on Q and therefore Q exerts a force on P. What law does that say? According to Newton's third law, forces are equal and opposite in direction. So there is a resultant force on P but in the opposite direction to its motion, which causes P to decelerate. And whenever you talk about deceleration, the law you refer to is Newton's second law.